Forgotten deja vu. Can you shut up for 2 minutes and listen to me? We're not on stage. You don't have to be the main character, Virgil snapped. Roman huffed. Oh, as if you had anything helpful to add, other than that my ideas are all trash, he argued. Roman didn't know what the teacher was thinking putting them together for this report. Virgil Stillwater always had something to critique, and Roman was tired of it. Maybe if you'd actually let me finish for once. But as usual, when the great Roman Viva speaks, all must be quiet. Roman let out a frustrated huff and packed his stuff. Oh, real mature. Run away. That'll help, Virgil bid. We are not going to do anything other than shout tonight, clearly. And I can't deal with that right now. He really couldn't. Oh, please, Virgil scoffed. He didn't know a single thing about him. He wasn't going to bother defending himself. Woman stormed towards the door. Woman, get back here! We haven't made a single plan, Virgil called after him. Woman wasn't listening, though. He was out of here. Working face to face wasn't going to work. Maybe if they built on each other's work or something, but this could not. Woman! Woman looked up. Virgil sounded terrified. That was when he saw the headlights and heard the car and horn. Woman was vaguely aware of sounds around him. Voices. Beeping. But nothing really made sense. Occasionally he felt something, though he couldn't really pinpoint what it was. He could tell where, though. His arms, his forehead, his hand. He just wanted to wake up and see what was going on. And then he did. As he'd sort of gathered at this point, he was in a hospital bed. Next to him was an unexpectedly comfortable looking chair, and a man was sitting in it. He was past his mid-twenties, and Roman couldn't for the life of him figure out what this man was doing in his room. Shouldn't his parents be keeping watch over him? He is distracted by the sound of the TV. There was a Disney movie playing, Tangled. Very few people knew about his love for Disney. Had this man chosen it? Was it coincidence? Where were his parents? What had happened? The car hit him, that much was clear. But how bad was it? The man's eyes drift towards him, perhaps reacting to a sound Roman had made without realizing. Once their eyes meet, the man shoots up and reaches for a button on the bedside. Roman, he exclaims, looking ridiculously happy. How long had he been out? Sir, what is... Oh, good. Mr. Rivera is awake. Mister? Him? Yes, he just woke up. The stranger smiled before looking at him. I'm going to call the others. Your parents had to arrange some things back in Florida, but they'll be here as soon as they can. Back in Florida? Where was he? Why wasn't he in a hospital back home? I'm going to give the doctor some space to work. I'll be right back, though, the man promised, patting his hand comfortingly before leaving the room, getting replaced by a doctor. Good to see your eyes open, sir. Sir? How are you feeling? The nurse asked as she checked the machines and prepped a needle. The woman swallowed and tried to speak. Sleepy. Sore. Okay, that felt a little weird, but his voice worked. Can you tell me where you are? The doctor asked. Hospital. America? Roman said, hoping the doctor would tell him where exactly they'd taken him. The man nodded. You're in LA, sir, he offered. Los Angeles? Why was he on the literal other side of the country? Do you know how you got here? The doctor asked. Car, Roman said, though he wondered if he'd missed something. Had he been taken here for some kind of specialized care? That might be it. He wouldn't put it past his parents, though he hoped he hadn't spent too much money. The doctor nodded. Indeed, you've been in a coma for about 3 weeks. The first two were medically induced, but you clearly felt you needed an extra minute, the doctor joked. 3 weeks? Okay, that wasn't too terrible. You luckily managed to break the impact rather well. Our biggest worry was your head injury. Other than that, you had some minor fractures that have mostly healed at this point. You do have a broken rib or two that still needs some time to heal, I'm afraid, but physically, that's the worst of it. Your last scan shows that the brain trauma has cleared up almost completely, so we are hopeful that any effects that might still linger will be temporarily and treatable. You are still young, so that helps your chances at a full recovery. Woman managed to nod. That sounded good. All right, I'll need to ask a few questions. Just routine. I know they'll sound ridiculous, but it is part of the process. Woman nodded again. Okay, can you state your name? Woman Rivera, he said without hesitation. Good. Who is the current president of the USA? He continued, as he scribbled something down. Obama, the woman said. That gave the doctor and the nurse pause. What date is it? Woman frowned as he tried to count it out in his head. 3 weeks. It's been the start of February, so March 1st, 2012. That was his best bet. The doctor glanced at the nurse. A moment passed, and they nodded at one another. Then that friendly smile was back again. But Woman was a bit worried. He had to be off by a bit more than a few days for this reaction, right? All right, sir. As I said, we expect a full recovery. If you experience dizziness or memory issues or anything unusual, make sure to alert someone of this. You'll need some physical therapy as your body gets used to moving around again. Once again, welcome back, sir, the doctor said before he and the nurse left. Woman took in the room again. It was a nice room. There were a lot of cards and balloons and flowers. Like a lot. And there was a pile of letters in a box next to the bed. The whole school must have sent something. All the flowers caused the room to smell nice. Moments later, the mystery man returned, looking a lot less excited. But he was smiling, just in a sad way. Doctor gave me an update, he said. Why? Aren't doctors supposed to be very strict about only informing family? If you don't fill up the visitors yet, I can tell the others you want to be left alone for a bit. But I felt you should hear it from me. Woman wasn't sure what it was, but he didn't want to be left alone with his thoughts. Visitors are fine, he said slowly. Okay, is this going to sound insane? You were in an accident a few weeks ago. Woman nodded. He remembered that. Not the impact, but the car coming at him. And, well, you seem to have lost a bit of your memories from before that, too. So don't freak out, please, the man says gently. Woman swallows tensely. Okay, okay, can be cool. Though he didn't get what he had forgotten. There weren't any holes in his memories that he could spot. It's 2022, the man says. What? It's 2012, the woman corrects. The man shook his head and picks up a mirror from under a book to show Woman his face. His significantly more mature face. Oh. He looks back at the man and tries to imagine him younger. Clearly he was supposed to know him. Did they know each other back in high school? Back in high school. This was crazy. How could he be 16 one minute and 26 the next? Anyway, the man had something vaguely familiar to him. He looked a little like an older Virgil. He even was dressed in a more mature and cooler version of his usual emo style. The purple hair and arm tattoo threw him off, but the more he looks at him... Virgil Stillwater? He whispers. Virgil nods, his smile becoming relieved. You look like I could be an actual model for a hot topic? I know. Virgil smirked with a casual confidence that seemed so out there for him. I guess that's the way to put it. He was very handsome. Yeah, I had a great stylist teach me how to dress like me, but with style. got through some serious issues which allowed me to become much more confident. It's been a ride, Virgil smirked. He was being playful, teasing, but there was still sadness in his eyes. Woman wanted to ask a million things, but then we came as soon as we heard, Roman, you sweet prince, you're back! An excited voice called out as a man with curly, dirty blonde hair and freckles raced in, barely being held back by a man with long, sunny blonde hair and a beauty mark darkening the left side of his face. Patton, he's still in recovery, the man reminds his companion. Knowing that he had to de-age by a decade, woman recognizes them. Patton James and Janice Vance. Right, right! The man, who last time Roman remembers seeing him, was terrified of everyone currently in the room. Less so of Virgil, but still. Not while the slimeball who stole Roman's most recent prospective boyfriend wraps an arm around his waist. Guys, Virgil started, but then there was a familiar screech. Hey! Remus was caught and held back by both Patton and Janice. No need to knock him out again right away, Janice smirked, with fond teasing. Later? Remus wondered, and everyone chuckled, even Virgil, though it came less easily to him. My apologies, I could not hold him back on my own. Roman, it is good to see you again. Logan, the quiet nerd who only ever spoke to him to berate or ridicule him, said, smiling fondly, What? And why did he arrive with Remus, who existed to embarrass him? Okay, maybe Remus being here made the most sense of all of them. He was still his brother, and he should hope he'd been a little worried after a car crash. What what are all of you doing here? He asked, shocked. That confused most people in the room. What do you mean? Patton asked. Oh, don't give me that. I know you all hate me, he stated firmly, sure of it. Everyone looked at Virgil. Why was this so confusing to them? He's lost his memories. Last he remembers, from what I understand, was our fight back in sophomore year. You know, when he nearly got hit by that minivan, Virgil surmised. You mean when you pulled him out of the way just in time, putting your own health and safety at risk for his sake? Logan recalled. Virgil had pulled him out of the way? Yes. So last he remembers, none of us are friends yet. I mean, he maybe remembers Patton aggressively trying to prevent me because he took one look at me and said, This sad boy is friend-shaped. The group laughed, nostalgia clear among them. So, what you are trying to tell me is that after that near miss, we started getting along, Roman surmised. Virgil looked at him and nodded. You and I had an actual talk without yelling, and we learned we had some stuff in common, like that we both like Disney. And after that, well, we started giving the other people in this room a chance. I tried to trust that Pat wouldn't run for the hills the second he actually got to know me. You confronted Logan about his tendency to make people feel dumb. We both confronted Jay about his scheming and sabotaging, and we was kind of just, well, he never changed, but you two get along better now. Though he still is a hazard to society, Virgil surmised for him. And proud to be one! Remus exclaimed gleefully. Roman looked around, trying to make sense of it all. It's a lot to take in, Virgil concluded. How about I go and see about getting you released as soon as possible? Then we can figure out the memory situation. The doctor said that they should be coming back in a few weeks. Your brain just needs to recover some more. The others can catch up with you when you are ready. We can do a few movie marathons, Virgil suggested. Oh, you get to see so many things for the first time again, Patton gushed. It would be you who would find the proverbial silver lining in this situation, Logan stated, though he didn't sound as demeaning about optimism as he used to. Guess they were right. We all grew up, and he might have too. Only he got a hard reset to what they probably considered the worst version of himself. Yeah, and he gets to befriend us all over again. Oh, and he'll be able to actually tell us what your 16-year-old self think of you, who you are today. Patton prattled on, as he was led out with the others. Woman observed how Janice's arm remained around Patton the whole time. He isn't wrong, Virgil noticed. You'll get to have a second chance at a lot of stuff. See something spoiler and hype free. And you you have no other responsibilities until you are better. No school, no work, just whatever you want or need until you are yourself again, he assured him, before getting up and leaving the room. Woman was left watching the rest of the movie, trying not to wonder too much. But why did Virgil seem in charge of his care? The answer came the next day, when Virgil drove them home in a very nice car. The windows were tinted and they left very hush-hush. Woman was given a wheelchair and crutches, because moving around was very tiring after laying completely still for 3 weeks. He wasn't incapable of moving, but he might need assistance from time to time if he tried moving a lot, which he did not like. Your parents came in this morning. They are at the house. They want to help you settle in, Virgil told him as they drove the streets of the City of Angels. When did we move here? Woman asked. You and I went to college here and stuck around. Remus studied here too. And the others followed soon after, Virgil told him casually. And we live in the same house, Woman verified. He got the distinct feeling that they did. Yep, roommates since high school graduation, pretty much. Virgil nodded with a smirk. You are very calm about this, Woman noted. Took my meds before picking you up. His chauffeur winked. Woman pretended to be looking at a Hollywood sign to hide his blush. Virgil looks very attractive, okay? There is aging well and aging fine. Virgil was the latter. Oh no, was he being weird? They were the same age, but Virgil remembered 10 years of growing and learning and friendship. Roman only remembered a gangly dude who infuriated him only to have him turn into a mature, handsome man who teased him and didn't even think twice about taking care of him. I do look forward to teaching you how to cook again. I wonder if you'll be less of a disaster the second time around, Virgil mused. You cook? Roman asked. Yeah, my parents didn't always get home in time, so I occasionally took over cooking dinner. When we went to college, I wanted us to take turns. But your first turn, well, you're better off not remembering that. So I taught you what I knew. And after a lot of misses, you developed into a fine cook. It was very rewarding experience. Roman listened with rapt attention. He never imagined Virgil would be coming home having to cook dinner to help his parents out. He didn't know much about Virgil, he supposed. How did I end up in a coma? Roman asked. If it wasn't the accident from 10 years ago, then he didn't know what happened. Much like the one you remember almost happening. We were both very tired and under a lot of stress. We said things we didn't mean. You went outside to take a walk. I was too slow this time. Someone was using our street as a racing track. Luckily, your jacket was white, so they spotted you. Luckily, your body somehow knew how to minimize the damage. It wasn't a fun time, Virgil said, now saddened and tense, and guilty. Um, I know it might not mean as much as it could, since I don't remember, but it wasn't your fault, woman offered. Virgil's shoulders actually relaxed as he said that. It does mean a lot, actually, considering that 16-year-old you used to jump at every chance to blame me, or so I saw it at the time. I was a bit defensive on the matter since I'd internalized some of the other kids at school said. So it wasn't completely your fault, he assured him. You sound like you've been thinking about this stuff a lot, Roman observed. Therapy, man, Virgil shrugged, as he turned up a driveway that led to a gate. Whoa, Roman breathed. This couldn't be. But Virgil showed a card to some kind of scanner and they were let in. The neighborhood was fancy. Not for the safety and the privacy, you wouldn't catch me in a neighborhood like this, Virgil muttered. Way too posh for my taste. How do we afford this? Roman asked breathlessly. This place looked expensive. I'll show you when we get home, Virgil smirked. Woman nodded. Home. Right. Where his parents would greet him after he'd been in a coma for 3 weeks. Me and my parents are still good, right? He asked nervously. Virgil snorted. Yeah, they just love Florida. They visit often, though. There was just some trouble at home they needed to fix, he told him. Okay, that was good at least. Woman had started to worry his parents might have changed over the years as well. They pulled up to a big mansion and got out of the driveway. Virgil opened the door for him and helped him out. Want to try walk a bit on your own? He suggested. Woman nodded as soon as he got his balance. Virgil took out the crutches, just in case, and walked beside him. They made it a few feet before the door opened, and Woman saw his parents definitely older than last he saw them. Hold on. Let him try to make it up the steps, Virgil warned. Woman noticed there was a ramp to the side, but he did want to try to push himself just a little. The steps were definitely harder than flat surfaces, though. Oh, sweetheart, are you feeling all right? Virgil told us about the memory loss. He smiled at first. I'm feeling a little confused. Like I time traveled and a little weak. So if you could sit down somewhere? So you don't want to see how we landed this place? Virgil smirked. Woman's head snapped up. He did actually. Thought so. Come on, it's not far. After we can sit down for a bit, Virgil promised as he offered Woman the crutches. Woman decided to take them. He had no idea how far he'd have to walk, and the doctor warned him not to overdo it. Should we show him now? Aren't we supposed to ease him into these things? Woman's father wondered. In movies and books, maybe. But he should be fine. He's had a rough going. He should see something that makes him smile. Give him something to remember, Virgil explained. There was no argument against that. Woman had one, though. Wouldn't the decade-long friendship with you and the others be something worth remembering? He asked as he took in the hallway. It sure looked like he and Virgil lived here. It's October, Virgil stated as he saw a woman eye the cottage decorations. Clearly uncomfortable talking about the personal stuff for the moment. We didn't get to the outside yet, he added. The woman nodded. He'd seen pumpkins and other autumn classics on the way. And the threads? He asked, referring to the colored yarn running through hoops in the wall. A system to help us find everything when we just moved in. Then to help guests find the bathroom, and now for you to find your way around the house. The red one goes to your room, the bathroom, and the living room. They are labeled where they split up. The purple one is for you if you look for me and can't find me in the living room. I should be at the end of one of them. Also labeled, Virgil offered. The golden one is for this room, if you want to visit again, he stated, as he laid his hand on the door. Ready to see why you are a rich boy, Princey? Woman couldn't help but smile at the nickname. Virgil had always called him that. It was one of the nicknames he secretly liked, though he supposed he now openly liked it, because Virgil definitely looked like he knew he didn't mind this one. Yes, let me have it. The woman hoped to see certain things, of course. But that didn't mean that actually seeing the posters and the awards hanging from the walls was any less exciting. Those are movie posters with my face! He exclaimed. He was on movie posters. That's right, a few Oscar nominations too. No wins yet, though, Virgil told him. Woman kept looking around and found that the walls had a theme. The left full of movie awards and posters. The right was filled with records in several metallic colors, music awards and album art. The center wall was a mix of both. I am a professional musician, Virgil said casually. That explained why they were in LA then. Woman couldn't stop staring at all those posters and awards. There was still plenty room for future accomplishments. But man, it wasn't bad for someone who was only 26. He looks like he did on Christmas mornings, he hears his father whisper to the others, making them chuckle. Wanna go? We can check out your room, maybe prep for the movie marathon. The others will be coming around noon, Virgil told him. Movie marathon? Roman wondered. Yeah, you missed a lot of Disney movies, man. And who knows, maybe rewatching a few will trigger some memories. That makes sense. You'd probably watched some of these a dozen times in the past 10 years. Something had to trigger a memory. He nodded. Sounds like a plan. Virgil grinned and helped him back to the living room, where they prepared the floor and the couches for a massive movie marathon. His parents doted on both of them, surprisingly. They must have really taken to Virgil over the years. If they were so close that they lived together for several years now, then it would make sense that they had gotten to know him too. So sing a lot. Wanna try and help me with the food? Virgil called when lunchtime approached. Woman had been talking with his parents about some childhood memories, pretty much avoiding the subject of his amnesia. But they did help him look at his interactions with Remus in a new light. Maybe he had been vilifying Remus in his head as they'd gotten older. Something he'd apparently worked through. Had he been to therapy too? Never mind it. Apparently, Virgil was ready to see him embarrass himself by failing at his basic adult skill. Woman was going to try and focus on learning more about his future too. So, are there nicknames I'm allowed to call you? He asked, as he watched Virgil lay out all kinds of ingredients according to some kind of schematic that Roman couldn't follow. What do you mean? Virgil asked, as he dug through the fridge for some things. I noticed you're calling me nicknames I recognize that I actually don't mind, and some new ones that are pretty okay too. So, I don't want to call you Debbie Downer if it hurts you or something. Since we are friends who share a home, the woman explained. Virgil took a moment to think and she motioned him over to the cutting board. He picked up a knife and an apple. Okay, I did need to teach you this too the first time around. I'm hoping muscle memory will kick in, but just in case I'm going to show you. And I have a first aid kit on standby, the musician explained. Woman huffed but paid attention as Virgil showed him how to safely cut the apple into slices. You can call me whatever you want, but, you tend to call me Stormcloud, or a variation of it. Also, nothing emo is safe from your quick wits. Okay, now you try. Woman was a bit taken aback by the brisk change in tone, from fond to formal in one breath. Woman took the knife and started cutting with surprising ease. Seems your hands remember what to do even if your head doesn't, Virgil noted as he got started on something else. I want to make a whole bunch of stuff to snack on throughout the marathon. We made a selection, but it'll likely still take us more than one day to get through them all, Virgil explained as they worked. Are there questions you won't answer? Roman pressed. He wasn't volunteering information, but he was shown whatever he wanted to know. No, if you ask it, I'll be honest. But I'm not going to force feed you 10 years of memories. All on your pace, Virgil replied. Roman nodded thoughtfully. They worked in silence until they had enough to last them the night, just in time for the rest of their friends to get here. Everyone was infuriatingly careful when greeting him. Virgil picked up on it and led them to the living room to get everyone situated. Roman was amazed that they all seemed so eager for a Disney marathon. He'd been embarrassed about his love for the movies, but apparently at 26 he was open about it. Cloud? Roman whispered, his eyes glued to the video game characters exploring game worlds beyond their own. Yeah, charming? The dark not so loner replied, as he took a bite from one of the snacks. Am I out? Surely someone who lived with him knew. Yep, for the whole world to see, Virgil told him with a smirk. He looked almost proud. Woman relaxed at that. We all are. That addition very nearly made Roman choke on his foot. Okay, cool. He was cool. He really liked Frozen, though they had to play the power ballad twice because Remus sang along off key the first time around. Big Hero 6 and Inside Out both were emotional gut punches. Zootopia looked breathtaking, Finding Dory was adorable. Moana had him giddy and Coco blew him away with excitement. At least until Hector sang Remember Me, and Virgil was singing along under his breath. That broke his heart, also, somehow it sounded familiar. All right, that's enough for one day. Time to go home, Virgil insisted when the credits rolled. Their guests yawned and stretched and hugged him before leaving, including his parents. Apparently, they had a guest house in the garden. Woman was sent to bed. Virgil insisted on cleaning up alone. He needed his rest. Woman followed the red thread leading to the large master bedroom with a big bed and massive closet. Woman's thoughts mingled processing the past 2 days, and he thought back to Virgil being told everything. Virgil taking charge of his care. No one, not even his parents, seemed to question that. Not even the doctors. Because they were famous? He should hope not. If not that, though, he was so close. He could feel it. A breakthrough. Hearing Virgil sing had felt familiar. Maybe if he got him to sing something he'd written. Virgil said he would tell him things if he asked. And so Woman made his way back. He was going to ask for one song to settle his mind. That was it. But suddenly he heard voices. And that is it for the coming week, unless you want me to cancel something. I did my best to anticipate what you'd want to keep on the agenda, but I understand that given the circumstances. That voice sounded vaguely familiar. I wasn't sure he liked it though. No, Alex, this is great, thank you. For this and for the past few weeks. I don't know what I'd do without you. That was Virgil. Well, it's my job. And even if it wasn't, it's the least that I can do. The stranger, Alex, said. The woman looked past the corner. Virgil was cleaning up and talking to a phone on speaker. Don't you start that with me. I told you that I don't blame you. And once Woman is himself again, I know he'll agree. We were, you know better than anyone how tense things were. It was a matter of time. Exactly. Alex, you did what you thought was best, and I truly appreciate it. How about you take a week off? I'll call you if Woman is ready to talk, okay? Take care. Who was this guy? Did he have something to do with the fight that landed Roman in this situation? Very well. Have a good night, Virgil. Alex allowed. You too, Virgil replied before hanging up with a sigh. Who was that? Roman asked. Virgil looked up surprised. Our personal assistant. He's been working with us since your first big role, Virgil said. Roman nodded. Its voice sounded familiar, he informed his housemate. This made Virgil light up. That's good, see? It'll all come back. You did a decent job at cooking, and now you recognize Alex's voice. It's going to be all right, Virgil stated. When did you become so optimistic? Roman asked. It was very odd to see him be so insistent on a fairy tale ending. Virgil looked down and put more plates in the dishwasher. Because if I let myself spiral, I can take care of you. So for your sake, I have to be hopeful, he explained. Oh, that made him emotional. Was there something you needed? Virgil asked. Right. My head won't shut up. I was hoping. Could you sing something for me to settle my thoughts? Virgil paused his cleaning for a moment. Then he turned to him. Sure, he said, his voice trembling with emotion. Was this something old him used to ask for? Before Woman could finish that thought, Virgil started to sing. When the road is without direction, when the way is without end, listen, there's my suggestion. What you need is a friend, someone to make it a quest, someone to set a goal, someone who makes you your best, someone who makes you whole. Virgil let his voice fade out. Woman quickly realized why. Silent tears were streaming down his face. Somehow, so much just clicked. And that song. could almost see the many memories of times Virgil had sang it to him. I I think I can guess at a few more nicknames I have for you, Roman said softly as he walked closer. Virgil was frozen solid in his spot. My chemically imbalanced romance? He whispered. Virgil nodded. Roman took a step. Scaramore? A nod. A step. Mi novio? Nod. Step. And then, because of him being treated as family, because his parents let him take charge of his care, esposo? Virgil was crying now too, and nodded. May I? Roman asked, reaching for his face. Virgil responded by embracing him. Roman had turned to hug, pulling back only enough to place a gentle, sweet kiss on Virgil's lips. It felt so right. He felt so at home. That song had made him feel so safe and understood. Memories were brewing under the surface, ready to return to him. Right now, he remembered the most important thing. Virgil loved him, and he would always be at his side.